Good morning, church. Good morning, everyone. Come buy wine, bread, milk, water, without money, without price. The promise of a free lunch doesn't sound as exciting as we hope it would, does it? I learned that as a youth pastor. I learned that unlimited Taco Bell, pizza, ice cream, and boba doesn't mean that the kids will show up. I think at some point it did, though. I remember when I was in college, on Saturdays, my friends and I would decide what church in the neighborhood would go to based on who was having a potluck. Anyone? Not like that anymore. And sort of as Isaiah's promise of bread, milk, wine, and water, even though it's free, doesn't really move us the way I think it perhaps ought to. It's understandable, of course, I get it. There are good reasons for that. I think one of the reasons might be that we've become suspicious or skeptical of things that are free. Free, especially when we hear free, we hear this, don't we? Free, things that do not require some sort of trade-off. Most of our reality doesn't work like that. When I go to the store and I see some, you know the one that goes, buy two, get the third free? Rarely is that going to move me to buy it. I'm like, I'm already paying for the third one, I'm sure. And so I'm going on my phone, I'm looking at other places that sell the same thing. I'm like, you're just trying to trick me. No, most of our lives isn't structured like that. Whether you can see it or not, you know that there are, or maybe you imagine that there are some strings attached somewhere to this unbelievable offer. As my high school Sabbath school teacher once said about sexual temptation, if it sounds too good to be true, we can pretty much be assured that indeed it is too good to be true. Run away. I'll let you work that one out. But I think that's part of it. I think that we've lived in this zero-sum reality for so long that we struggle to see that past that type of economy. And so when someone says, come and buy without money, come and buy without paying, without a price, I don't think we're lining up for that store. We're suspicious, skeptical. But another reason, and I have to be careful here about how I frame this, but I think it's because we have too much. We live in a type of abundance, a type of excess that makes it difficult for us to realize the value of things we have and the value of things that we need. I tell you what I mean. Who gets excited about water, bread, and milk when you can just easily pay for truffle burgers, Dubai chocolate cake, and champagne? Even if it's free. Bread, water, milk. Are we making milk bread pudding? You know, when I was a kid, I'd come home and I'd be starving, and I'd get home from school and I'd go straight into the kitchen with my backpack. And my mom would be in the kitchen and she would be making dinner. And most often she would have finished making dinner by the time I got in. And so I get early dinner. I'll have a little bit of whatever she's making, I'll have it. Or sometimes if she hadn't quite finished, she'll give me some of the whatever they had for lunch, what my parents had for lunch, which was always better than whatever I had for lunch at school. And so, but occasionally I'll come in and she'll still be cooking and there will be no leftovers left. And then I'll be like, Mom, I'm hungry. She's like, I'm starving. She's like, I know. She's like, go in the fridge, there's some bread and some peanut butter. To which I would say, but I already had that for lunch. And you know what she would say? Well, you can't be that hungry. It used to frustrate me so much because I wanted to explain to her, dude, no, I am hungry. You don't understand. I'm hungry. I'm just hungry for rice and curry. not for bread and peanut butter. Which for her, in her mind, she couldn't comprehend because she grew up in a place where bread and peanut butter was a feast. By the time I came around, I could choose. I could have Nutella. I could have cheese, different types of French cheese. I could have rice and curry. I could have salads or whatever. I could have it. Well, we didn't eat meat. But I could have a lot more than she, And so for her, she's like, wait, well, you can't be hungry. You can wait for dinner. And so, of course, I'd have the bread and peanut butter. But I think she was onto something. There's something about abundance, the type that colors so much of our Western affluent lives that I think confuses our appetites. It sounds almost paradoxical that we have so much of what we desire, but it's hard for us to notice what we actually hunger for. Am I making sense? We have so much of what we desire that it's hard for us to notice what we actually hunger for. Because this text, it's about hunger. And not just one type of hunger, but both types of hunger. Because there are two, right? There's the hunger that we are aware of. There's the hunger you can name, the hunger for rice and curry. And then there's the hunger that you don't even know you have. That's hard to name. There's the hunger where you know what you want, but you haven't got it, or you cannot have it. For instance, when you've interviewed for a job and you can't understand why you did not get it, we know that kind of hunger. When you long with all your heart to have a baby, but it's not happening. When you want to start exercising and get healthy, but you just can't stay the course. Hello, somebody. Or when you're simply just dying for some food, but a cupboard is bare, which is something that still exists in our country today, the richest country in the world. We know that kind of hunger well. We know what it feels like, and we know how dangerous that hunger can be. We know that when not attended to, that kind of hunger can become all-consuming. I was visiting with a couple once. This was the time where during the holidays, well, not even during the holidays, when I was at school studying to be a pastor, I'd have an evening job at a restaurant. And I'd met them there, and we'd become friends over the years. And then one day she calls me, the girlfriend, desperate, asking me if I could pray for them. And she's like, I know you're still studying for it, but you're the closest thing we know to a pastor. So we're calling you. I'm like, odd way to phrase this request, but okay. And then she says, I don't know if it's something that I'm doing, but something's happening. We've become very apart lately. We don't talk like we used to, and when we do, we're always talking about his job. And he's changed a lot. He's become short-tempered. He doesn't even want to go out with friends anymore. If he's not at the gym, he wants to go out fishing. And he says, can you please pray for her? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll pray for you. But I said, you know what's better? I want to meet with you guys. Let's hang out again. And so eventually we found time to meet. And as soon as I started talking to him, I could tell that he had become obsessed with something. He kept saying things like, it's part of the process, whatever that means. I just need to get that promotion. He must have said the word promotion about 20 times in the hour that we spoke. And every time she'd want to share what she was kind of feeling, he'd just interrupt her. No, it's just part of the process. It's not always going to be like that. I just need to get that promotion. And so we ended up praying for his promotion as I left. But unattended hunger will do that to you. Unattended hunger will change your disposition, affect your relationships. It's powerful that way. It cannot go by itself. It can contort who you are, slowly eroding at the person you once were if you don't find a way to attend to that hunger. And so keep tabs on what you hunger for. But there's another kind of hunger, isn't there? A hunger harder to notice, perhaps, harder to articulate. It's a hunger that lingers deep, disturbingly in the bottom of the soul. Do you know what I'm talking about? The kind of hunger that there aren't any simple solution to it. You can't just eat your way out of it. You can't get the promotion. You can't get even when you get what you have, you're still hungry for it. Some of you might remember the song, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For by the group U2. Do you remember that one? Pastor Rebecca's nodding. I have climbed the highest mountains. I have run through the fields only to be with you, only to be with you. I have run, I have crawled, I have scaled these city walls, only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Hello, somebody. I have kissed honey lips. I've felt the healing in fingertips, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. That's a different kind of hunger. It's a different type of yearning. It's to do with something deep in the gut, almost like an aching and longing. It's so deep, in fact, that it's easily missed. To use the words of the Ecclesiastes, you can get so distracted chasing after the wind that you don't realize that you're hungry. You can get so distracted chasing after the wind that you don't realize that there is something valuable to be gained under the sun. You're hungry and you don't even know it. And if you do, you can't even name it. It's different. What is the big deal about water and bread and wine and milk, even if it's free, if I don't even know that I need the water, that I need the bread, that I need the wine, that I need the milk? There is some good news here. Turns out the writers of our text for today, they know this thing about us. They're aware of our skepticism. They're aware of our confusion. They're aware of our unawareness. Because in a sense, they were writing to a people that were not very different to us in that sense. I don't know if you can see it in the text, but they're shouting the invitation because they know unless they shout it at us, we'll just walk past it. Growing up, I used to love going to the Friday market. Did you used to have this here in the States? The weekly markets, where all the vendors would come out, and it would just be like chaotic. Everyone's trying to get you to come to their store. I used to love it. It was loud. It was way too overstimulating for my constitution, but I loved it. Vendors struggling to get my attention. Hawking wares with enthusiasm, excitement. You all right, love? What do you need? I got apples, carrots, bread, cheese. What do you need, darling? I used to love it. I used to go to the market just for people to call me darling. Loved it. You all right, darling? How much you got? No, I can give it to you for a $5. Scared, I loved it. So I come home on a Friday going off to school, pause for the thing, I'll come home with like all types of cakes that we won't even eat. But I was just like, they loved me and they gave me all this thing. When you read the text, you get that feeling, the tone of the writers is like, hey, come, it's shouting, come have a look at this. You don't want to miss this. I know you're skeptical. I know you're confused about what you really need right now. Come, because what I have for you might even open your eyes to something that you've been hungering for and you did not even know about it. And so it's saying, come. Even if you don't have money, come and feast at this table. For 50 years, Israel was exiled in Babylon. And they were hungry, that first type of hungry. They were hungering to go home. They wanted back control over their lives. They wanted to live on their own terms. They wanted their children to go to the schools that they wanted their children to go to the schools that they wanted their children to go. They wanted their own kingdom again. They wanted their own king. And Isaiah says, okay, that's okay. God has not forgotten you. You will get all this. You are getting all this. But Isaiah is also calling attention to their second type of hunger. The kind of hunger that will remain once they returned home from Babylon. The hunger that will still linger in their hearts and souls even after Jerusalem was restored. The temple rebuilt. The walls were raised again. And the voice says, come, come, come. I know what you thirst for. But I also have the thing that's going to open your eyes to the other hunger, in that any amount of food and blessings and whatever it is that you're after won't be able to satiate. Come, feast on this. I have all of it here. Come, I know what you thirst for. I know what you hunger for. I have bread, I have milk, I have water, I have wine. I have what you hunger for, and I have what you don't know that you hunger for. Just come. I met an older gentleman years ago at a park once. Funny enough, we were both way too early for our appointments and ended up on the same bench in the same park. And I was trying to read my book, but he wouldn't let me. He just wouldn't let me. But he was doing this thing that's really annoying when you're not interrupting someone, but you're interrupting them. Because you keep doing that thing where you're like, you kind of want to say something and then you don't. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like the kind of movement, like I know you want to say something, just say it. And then you'd be like, oh, you know. So eventually I just like, you know what, I closed my book. I'm like, I'll let you interrupt me. So I interrupted him. And we started talking. He had been waiting 22 years for this day. He said 22 years to finally see my daughter again. He says, I've done everything I ever wanted to do in my life. I traveled the world. I became successful in my career, as successful as I wanted to be. I even found the love of my life. The only thing I could not achieve was reconnecting with my daughter and be part of her life again. And he says, I have been praying every day for the past 20 years, every day for God to let me reconnect with my daughter again. And finally now, after 22 years, God answers my prayer. I'm waiting here for my daughter. We have a rendezvous in about an hour. 22 years. Here, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come buy and eat. Come every day. It might take you 22 years, but you will be fed. Your hunger will be met. Years ago, when I was training to be a pastor, I was involved in prison ministry, where they send you to a prison and you kind of do some chaplaincy work and you pray with people, you lead worship. And at one of the places that I met, one of the prisons that I'd go, I met Sam, one of the most tender-hearted people I've ever met. Like the human version of a hug. What a guy. Plus, he was born in Mauritius, where my mom is from, and so we bonded over that. But Sam was only 20, and had already spent 3 years of his life imprisoned in one way or another. Sam was an aspiring music producer. He played me some of his music. It was good. He was good. But my favorite thing about Sam was his laughter. Contagious, loud, defiant. It was just something. It's just like I remember thinking, like, this person does not deserve to be behind. Like, it isn't, he needs to be out and doing, like, he's such a... He said to me one day at the end of the worship, he's like, you know what, I don't actually go to church. I never liked it, to be honest. But one day, I'll have my testimony. I know God is not done with me yet. You're going to hear my music on the radio, he said. And I'll send you my testimony. Give me your email address. And so I gave him my email address. Like, you watch. One day I'll send you my testimony, Pastor. We stayed in touch for a couple of years. But the last time I heard from Sam, he was in a detention center. They were getting ready to send him back to a country he left when he was 3 years old. His email asked me to pray for him. He had questions for God, a ton of questions, mostly angry questions. And so I emailed back. I told him, I'll pray for you, Sam. And I told him that I believe that God responds to our pain. And so I encouraged him to articulate his hurt in his music, maybe. I remember writing, God welcomes all our questions. It's actually part of the Bible. There's a whole book in the Bible devoted to our angry questions to God. Keep bugging God, Sam. I said, keep bugging God. That's the last I heard of him. But for at least 5 years after, every spring, I'd send him an email, just hoping maybe one day somehow you open that email address, it'd be there. And so I'd send him an email every spring, and it would just be a short email, it would be a prayer. I was thinking about how to best explain this, but can I just read you one of the emails that I sent him, the last one? And I'll try to do it without tearing up. Dear Sam, I hope that wherever you are right now, this prayer finds you well, or at least on the mend. I pray that the difficulties of this world, which for some of us are many, have not conquered your contagious love. All of us are subject to our fair share of tyrannies, both outside and within ourselves, and you, my friend, have experienced more than most. But I do pray that the experiences of the past year have not been wasted and have in some way made you into a stronger and wiser person. I pray that you are now surrounded by a community that cares for you and that the deep love you have for others is being given back to you. You deserve all the love in the world. I pray that you're still making music, creating things that pastors can dance to. But above all, I pray that you have not given up on your testimony, that you continue to bug God about your needs, noting the good things God has done in your life and noting the good things you wish God had done in your life. I pray that our paths reconnect again someday and we can look at each other and say, wow, look at God's world. Look at God's work. Here, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come eat and drink. I have bread, I have wine, I have grace, I have salvation. A feast prepared for you. The meal is free, like really free, like free. And it holds the promise of freeing you from whatever holds you captive. That's the promise of Isaiah 55. Can I leave you with another anecdote, something a little bit lighthearted? Final thought. The other day I was at Costco. I went to look at some glasses. Apparently I need glasses now. But I ended up, as one does at Costco, walking around, wondering and thinking about the week's sermon. And as I was walking around, I overheard a mother scolding her son. And she was like, "You've gone 3 times already. You cannot keep going back. People don't like that." Can you guess what she was talking about? She's talking about the free samples. By the way, how amazing are free samples at Costco? Can somebody say amen louder? Amen. And she's talking about her son that keeps going back to get it, and I heard that and I was like, oh, that's it. That's that grace thing. Going no more than 3 times might be good practice for shopping at Costco. But it's not good practice for God's table. At God's table, you can come as often and eat as much as you like. Come, eat, drink, it's free. Come again, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, maybe at the 22nd time, the 22nd year, the 40th year. Free meal, grace, salvation, like you've never experienced before. Come, eat, drink, says the prophet. It's free.